Hey there, we're taking a look at God of War running on the Lenovo Legion 5 with the RTX 2066 GB paired with the i7-10750H. Now the game is currently running at 1080p with the Ultra preset. With these settings we actually get some pretty decent performance, but it is not a consistent 60 FPS experience. That being said, we're really just testing this as a baseline because the game supports a wide variety of different upscaling features that you really should take advantage of. Specifically on this laptop, the one to take advantage of is DLSS. DLSS is supported on here and it does an amazing job. That being said, there's actually not that much of a difference between the different DLSS settings in terms of the performance uplift. So there is really no benefit to going to the really low settings, and let me show you that. Here, for example, we have DLSS set to quality, and the performance uplift isn't significant. We are still below 60. There is no real noticeable drop in the visual quality whatsoever, so it's pretty much a free, small little bump in FPS, but it really is not much of an uplift, which is surprising because this is essentially being rendered at 720p. If I had to guess, it's probably something in the ultra settings that is a real CPU hog, and we're probably just CPU limited at this point, because if the game is being rendered at 720p and we're not able to hit a consistent 60 FPS, that tells me that it's probably the CPU holding us back here. As you can see, by setting the DLSS setting to balanced, it doesn't improve the FPS at all. We're still running into pretty much similar limitations to the other settings, so for sure there is a CPU bottleneck here somewhere, because I can't imagine what setting would be able to push a 2060 to the point of this level of performance at the resolution that this is being rendered at, because this is now sub 720p being rendered and upscaled to 1080p, which, by the way, it does look really good. Like, it looks really nice for what it is, but it's not that big of a difference just in terms of raw performance. So after messing around with all of the DLSS settings, I decided, well, you know what, screw it, let's just change the ultra settings down to high and see what the performance difference would be at the quality settings, and we can finally break well above 60. There is for sure something in the ultra preset that is a huge limiting factor here, and we've been able to pretty much lift that and get some very nice, very smooth performance here. And honest to God, you put a gun to my head, I could not tell you the difference visually between this and the ultra settings at all. Dropping the quality down to original settings, which these are the settings that it pretty much says it ran on the original consoles, it performs pretty decently, but I just don't see the reason for this. The uplift compared to high is just not really worth it, if you ask me. We're talking about like a 10 FPS difference when we're already above 60. We're already having a smooth experience. I don't think those 10 FPS are really going to make that huge of a difference here. It just doesn't seem that worth it to me. I would just keep the settings on high and enjoy the visual upgrade over these original settings. Really, it seems like we run into another bottleneck here because of the fact that once we drop the settings all the way down to the lowest preset, which also honestly doesn't look that bad on the system really, it performs, again, not that much better. We're looking at another 10 FPS difference at most. Not going to be the greatest thing ever. Really, the biggest benefit here is just how smooth it feels because of those 1% lows. And trust me, on the 240 Hz display of this monitor, this smoothness, you can feel it. It is definitely noticeable. I just don't know if it's really worth the visual quality degradation for a game like this. You know what I mean? It's not such a high intensity game where I feel like the benefits of these higher FPS is going to outweigh the reduction in visual quality. You might as well get the best visual experience out of this game than the smoothest combat because of the fact that at the end of the day, once you're hitting 60 FPS, you're already going to be getting most of the way there in terms of having a good experience. But I'm glad to see that a brand new title is performing this well on this chip, because these new GPUs is so hard to upgrade to, you know?